Once in the heart of the wild savannah, a mighty lion roamed. He was feared by many and respected by all, yet there was one thing that unsettled him, his own shadow. Whenever he saw it, long and dark beneath the glaring sun, something inside him grew uneasy. The shadow seemed to follow him, mirroring every movement, growing larger and more imposing as the sun dipped toward the horizon. Day after day, the lion tried to outrun his shadow. He would race across the plains, leaping over rocks, bounding through tall grass, but no matter how fast he ran, the shadow was there. Its silent, shapeless presence filled him with a fear he could not name. The other animals began to notice the lion's restlessness. "Why does he look over his shoulder with such worry?" they whispered. What could the great lion possibly fear? One evening, the lion decided he had had enough. He would face his shadow once and for all. As the sky blazed with the colors of dusk, he padded slowly to the edge of a quiet lake. The water was still, like polished glass, and when he looked down, he saw his own reflection. For a moment, he was frightened again. His own eyes looked back at him, deep and intense, and the shadow seemed to stretch larger than before, engulfing the lion and his reflection. But then something changed. The lion stared at his shadow, seeing it not as something foreign, but as a part of himself. He realized that his shadow was simply a mirror of who he was, shaped by the same sun that lit his path every day. With this new understanding, he began to speak to his shadow. "Why do you haunt me so?" he asked. And in the silence of the twilight, he seemed to hear a voice within his own heart reply, "I am here because you fear me. I am only what you have made me to be, your doubts, your worries, the parts of you that you try to hide." The lion sat by the water until the stars came out, reflecting in the lake like scattered diamonds. His shadow grew smaller and smaller as the light faded. In the quiet of the night, he understood a great truth: the shadow would always be there, a reminder of his own strength and his own weakness. But it was not his enemy, it was a part of him. From that night on, the lion no longer ran from his shadow. He walked with a new peace, knowing that true strength came not from fearlessness, but from accepting every part of himself, even the shadows. The animals of the savannah noticed the change. The lion walked more slowly, more calmly, and his roar carried a wisdom that had not been there before. And though the shadow still followed him, it no longer loomed over him. Instead, it walked quietly at his side, a silent reminder of his journey to self-acceptance, and the peace he had found within. So the moral of story is that true strength comes from self-acceptance. Facing our inner fears and shadows allows us to grow wiser and more peaceful. We should embrace every part of ourselves, both strengths and weaknesses, instead of running from them. By accepting who we are, including our doubts and insecurities, we find a deeper resilience and harmony within.